to Wednesdays at Noon with Pumpkin Fudge. I'm Shanique, and I'm your host here. Every week we have a different topic and a different guest, and I'm so happy to have a friend of the company, Christine. I'm not going to try to say your last name. I'll let you say it. But before we get started, I'm going to also say thank you to all of the essential frontline workers. Although we hope that we're almost out of this pandemic, I'm crossing my fingers because it's been a really, really long ways. But we still are here, and we thank all of the frontline workers and essential workers. And and also wear a mask if you're not vaccinated. And if you choose to still wear a mask and you're vaccinated, good for you. I also want to describe myself. I'm a Black woman with ginger, brownish kind of box braids in my hair right now. I'm wearing a gray t-shirt with a gold necklace and glasses and small earrings. There's a gray wall behind me with a white Pumpkin Fudge banner. The Pumpkin Fudge is in a rainbow color, and underneath it says "Inclusive by Design, Toys, Bags, Jobs." That's pretty much all that's in my square vicinity that you can see. My nails are also light blue, which I'm showing on the screen right now. And I'm gonna give the mic to Christine if you want to describe yourself and tell us about yourself.
Yes, so I'm Christine Meyerhofer, and I'm a pediatric occupational therapist. Currently, I am working in the schools, but I've done both outpatient and school. I really liked how you described yourself and your surroundings. Would you like me to do that as well?
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure. I have red hair, which I grew up with red hair and I just went back to red. So I'm really excited. I have a red dress with a white sweater, and my background's pretty much white with a little wreath in the back on my door.
Yeah.
As a pediatric occupational therapist, I have been working for 5 years since I got my license for that. Pediatrics just kind of fell into my lap versus some other places of work, and I just really fell in love with it. And I'm glad that that happened for me because I truly love pediatrics, and I think that's exactly where I need to be in life. I think fate really played its role there.
I love that. And what do you love most about it, do you think?
I just love the kids. Kids are so fun. When I'm working with the kids, it brings me so much joy. It's like the paperwork and all that other stuff. That's, complain about your job stuff. But when you're with the kids and they are, have an aha moment or just smiling and having fun and learning, it fills me. It fills my cup.
I totally feel you on that. And our team just said we love kids too. We do. Kids are great. I don't want kids of my own, but I'm totally fine with hosting and being around other people's kids. I love children. Yeah,
you can be auntie.
Right, exactly. My nephew is my favorite person ever on earth.
Me too.
Yes, he's the best. Shout out to Elijah. I love him. I know Rebecca had told me that my video was going in and out. Is it better now?
It is better now.
Okay, I'm glad. Sorry. So could you tell us why OT from EBox got started?
It was to fill a gap. The original idea actually came from Michaela, my business partner. She got called into work, so she's not here today, but she is actually right now making a difference in some kid's life.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I was doing in school and she was doing teletherapy, and she found kind of a gap between the tools and stuff that kids didn't have at home. And she just thought, I just wish I could send all these kids just a bunch of stuff so that we can do therapy together.
Yeah.
So it kind of morphed into a subscription box idea. And I'm very business minded, and I kind of just said, hey, I'd like to do this with you. We're really good friends. And we just kind of jumped in with both feet and did it. And it didn't
I
take a
love
lot
that.
of, we didn't take a long time to decide. We just did it.
You see, and there's actually a question in here that um that I have. I need to try to find it. But pretty much like what was the turning point where you guys decided like, okay, we see this need and we're gonna actually go out. There we go. What was the turning point to go from just OTs and not even saying just OTs like
Yeah.
it's an easy job, but just OTs to OTs and business owners. Like that's a big thing to take on. And some people don't. Like they see a problem and they're like, okay, I'll let somebody else solve it. And this question keeps coming up every week that we have a guest on. And I'm asking like, how do you decide that that's something that you want to actually take on? Because that's a big role.
It has proven to be a big role. It's actually funny because I wrote down some of my prompts for myself for this. And what I said was, when we found out that there was something missing and we decided to take action. Like we just aren't, I feel like a lot of OTs in general aren't just people to wait around and wait for things to be fixed. Like we are fixers. Like that's kind of just what we do. And
That's right. Yep. And Lisa, our founder, says that literally all the time. Like she's like, that's what OTs are great at, is finding solutions and just MacGyvering literally everything.
it's fun.
And
Every day's a puzzle, and we get to put the pieces together.
that's awesome. I love that, honestly.
Thanks.
I think it's amazing when people decide that they're going to be the person to find a solution to changing so many people's lives. And yeah, I think that's amazing. On top of you already doing that with occupational therapy.
We can just reach so many more people than individually, working on therapy. But yeah, it is a lot. We are both working full time as OTs on top of the business.
Yeah.
But I think that also keeps us relevant. Like, I find new toys and new activities, and we really have good connections with what kids want and need.
I bet. And speaking of that, I mean, I know I keep jumping from question to question, so I'm going to apologize to Rebecca, who's behind the scenes. But can you tell us exactly what is OT for Me Box?
So OT for Me Box, it is a monthly subscription box that we design. We try to do 3 months ahead, but we design and we try out all the products just to make sure that they are quality and that we would like them and that we would use them in therapy sessions.
That's really important.
And I would say it's different because most other subscription boxes, and I'm not saying all, I don't know all of them, but most other ones are more sensory based. And that is an extremely important part, but it's not the only important part. So we just always make sure that we have 4 domains. I know this kind of pops into a different question, but we have 4 domains, and it's always fine motor, gross motor, academic, and sensory in every box. So we're getting more of a whole body learning approach with that.
And how does that reflect on the products? Actually, like these 4 developmental areas that you talk about, because I got this language from your website, but how does that reflect on the products? Like, how do you choose? How do you know like which ones go with which? Like, how do you find those things?
Well, we just do a lot of looking. Well, there's a lot of products that we already have used in our time being therapists, and what we really like to do is collaborate with other small companies like you guys, to get new products on the market and stuff. How does that tie in with the 4 domains? It's actually really cool because a lot of the activities or products, because a lot of times it's activities and we tell you how to do it with the tools we give you.
See, shameless plug. That's really important to know that when you get an OT from EBox, that's what you're getting.
Yes, and we write description cards for each activity to try to grade the make them easier or harder depending on your like individual need.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the things actually cover multiple domains. So a lot of things cover fine motor and academic and sensory. It could be and gross motor, but we always make sure we have at least one thing that covers each of those sections. Gross motor for me has been a little bit harder to find because it's a box, but we're really making it work. And we found some really cool things that I'm like, wow, like this is the coolest thing in the box. I'm glad we have gross motor in here.
Have they been out, like those things that you're talking about, are they out yet or are they coming out?
One of my favorites is for our July box, and that is a gigantic bubble maker thing. So we give you the tools and the ingredients, and you can just do whatever you want, run around. But it really truly uses bilateral coordination and following the recipe and the directions. It's just really cool. And I've taken some videos and pictures of the bubbles, and they truly are gigantic, and they don't pop, and they just fly across the earth. They're so cool.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. See, I was gonna ask you, like, do you have a favorite product that's coming up? But you answered it for me.
Yes, I'm really excited about that one because I got to try it, but it was kind of half winter. So all my pictures and videos, I'm wearing a big coat. But
it's okay. It's so cool, and I think that's amazing that you feel so strongly about the products that are in your box and having that sort of vetting process where you guys are using the products before you're sending it out to people who are getting your subscription boxes. Do the areas that you focus on, do they vary month by month?
No, we always have those 4 domains. Okay. So, I mean, the products vary, but those 4 domains are always in every single box.
And I know there are so many products out there to choose from that you can, have in your box. How do you decipher like which ones you want to choose each month?
We usually come together and just kind of have a big brainstorm meeting. We have a big list of things on a different document for, we have to think about price, obviously, and about how we're going to fit 4 things into our budget. So a lot of times, we'll try to get 1 more expensive thing, 2 more expensive things, just to make sure you guys are really getting quality, and then try to line those up with maybe some other smaller things. But they generally all just kind of work together. A lot of the times the products in the boxes can be used in conjunction with each other. Not always, but it tends to work out that way when we're sitting there together brainstorming, our little OT brains working is what they always called the OT brain in college. And it just ends up coming together as long as we stay under our budget and have the 4 domains. We look on different websites. We're partnered with other companies where we can get some wholesale stuff, which is really nice.
And what does the process look like to get a company in your box for someone who's watching this and might want to participate with you all?
Absolutely. Most of our collaborations have actually come from our Instagram, where we do most of our advertising because it's a great platform and it reaches a lot of people. So we usually just have people reach out to us, or we reach out to them, and then they're directed to our email, which is otformebox@gmail.com. And then once it's in the email, I will usually respond and try to figure out a way to set it up. And we just, ask each other the questions that benefits both businesses. And if it does, then we will usually collaborate. And we really love that. It's really cool to like
I
hype
bet.
other businesses up too.
So I'm actually gonna put this up here. I was doing that while you were talking.
Perfect.
Yeah. So if you're watching this or you watch this after we're no longer live, we'll put this back up at the end as well. But if you're a business out there and would like to potentially show your product to Michaela and Christine, and maybe even get it into the box,
Yes.
email right there on the screen, and that's the best way to reach them. And on Instagram too. I mean, we'll also put that up, and your website and all of that. But we usually do that at the end. But this one came up, so
Perfect.
yes.
Yeah, and we're such a small business that like we usually can respond to emails pretty much right away, unless
Awesome.
there's something going on in our lives or we need to both talk about it. I get emails right to my phone, so some people are like, you responded so fast. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big business. I'm just here.
Well, I mean, you're making a big impact, so it doesn't matter how big you are. I think that I love small businesses. Working for one has shown me how much work goes into running a small business, and all of the love and care and extra everything and all the hats you have to wear. So kudos to you and Michaela when she watches this. I know that she will, and I wish that she could have joined us today, but it's totally understandable why she didn't. Can we jump back to this question really quickly? And can you tell us, for those who may not know, why the 4 developmental areas are important? Can you just break down each of them and like the importance in specifically the boxes are for children, correct?
Yes.
And why they're important to them, to pediatrics?
Mm-hmm. So sometimes I forget that using OT language isn't the norm. So I can even tell you what gross and fine motor means and stuff like that.
No worries.
So the fine motor portion is more of the small muscles, usually in your extremities. So like your hands for handwriting or getting dressed, or any of the small things you use your fingers for, in the whole hand and the wrist. A lot of times we try to target some sort of handwriting skill, just because we're both school-based, and that seems to be something that kids are really struggling with right now. So that will benefit. And it might not be like, oh, we're sending you a workbook and we want you to write the alphabet.
I was just going to say, like, could you give us like a small example of what that might look like?
Yes. What do we have? What do we have? I can't remember what we have in our next.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of times we'll just give activity. We try to make everything fun and not seem like work at all. The kids should be playing and learning through play, and we're facilitating that through our products.
Yeah.
So it's usually just like some game or experiment or something that they're just using both of their hands with. And using both of their hands, that's going to work on the handwriting skills and getting dressed and all those other fine motor, so the small motor parts. Gross motor is more of the larger muscles. A lot of times it's working with your whole body. As if your whole body is part of what you're doing. So I just described this to someone else the other day. I don't know if it made sense, but if your core, if the center of you is off, everything else is going to be off.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm not an OT, and
Mm-hmm.
I understand. It relates to my personal life
Yeah, I mean,
all the time.
spiritually and physically. Like if you can't sit up straight when you're trying to do handwriting, that's going to be hard. Like if you literally have poor core strength, like muscles in your front and in your back, that is going to affect your fine motor skills. So the gross motor is really important foundationally.
Yeah.
We put academic in there because we are both school-based OTs. And I mean, who doesn't want to just like kind of work on a little bit of extra academic skills, especially if that's something you struggle with. And a lot of times that's not worksheets either. It's just activities that we know are going to help grow the brain.
It's like slipping vegetables into like a milkshake, and children not knowing that there are vegetables in there. That you see, you like that correlation, right? I think it was a good one.
I do too.
Yeah.
And then the last one is sensory. So that's we always talk about the 5 senses, but we actually have a lot more than 5. We have a lot of kids struggle with some tactile sensitivities or
and tactile, that's touch, correct?
Yes. So a lot of we have different things that they can manipulate and touch, whether it's wet and sticky like a slime, or whether it's dry and like a cottony type of material. We're not just sending you the material. We have activities that go along with that, but it's to help introduce different textures or different fidgets. Even we don't do a ton of fidgets, but we do have some fidgets to just help get their body used to that.
So it's sort of like a scavenger hunt aspect as well. So you give activities using certain things, and then you have to find them in your own life when you get the box, right?
Yeah. And what I really like too is that hopefully when the parents are reading the cards, that they're thinking, oh, wow, this is such, this seems simple. What are the other things that I'm doing in my life that are actually working on the skills for the children? So like if you're making lunch, like have them help you maybe cut the bread with a butter knife, or it helps parents realize what they're already doing.
Yeah.
That is so they can increase their confidence. Like, oh, I don't have to.
I love that. Like reassurance. Yeah, it's awesome. I never thought about it like that actually.
It's a lot of stuff just in everyday life that is working on skills.
Awesome.
And
can you tell us how much does the box cost? How much is the subscription?
The subscription right now is $49.99.
Okay.
We do have other products on our website that go as low as $20. Well, $15 actually, because we have a sale.
Oh, look at that.
Yes. One of those things is a summer activity packet that's just a digital download that I created, and that's 8 themed weeks of activities for summer. So like you don't have to worry about figuring out what you're going to do on Pinterest and stuff, and they're all should be low prep and low cost. Like you shouldn't have to buy anything to do the activities. And then we have a sensory bin, like a mini sensory bin. And then we have,
I saw that on the website.
Like quite a variety of things in between those price ranges. And those just are what we can work with right now. I mean, it like you were saying before, working in a small business, you appreciate how much work goes into product development and the background stuff. And for me as well, that makes me double think like, oh, should I buy this super cheap thing, or appreciate how much value goes into different products. So, wow.
Yeah, totally. What ages do the boxes support?
So our monthly box, we talk about developmental age because we know that a lot of kids we work with aren't always developmentally at their birth age. So we say developmentally 3 to 8. We've had 20-year-olds use our box and absolutely love it because developmentally that's where they're at and that's what they need.
Yeah.
We also have a couple other products like a tween box.
Yeah, so that's one of the questions. Can you tell us about it? What's the difference between that one and the regular box?
Yep. That one is like 8 plus. So it's a little bit more executive functioning,
Mhm.
so a little higher level thinking. There's more puzzles, but there's always still a fine motor. There's more complex fidgets or games that really get that brain ticking to work
Yeah.
on some of those skills like organization, stuff like that. We actually only have one left in stock right now.
Oh.
We have one
Oh.
left in stock, and then we are going to redo that one because that's just a one-off. That one doesn't come monthly. We're either going to do the same exact products or we're going to switch them up. So the lucky person can get the last one, and then we're out of stock until we figure it out.
Go check it out. Maybe you
Yeah.
will be the last lucky person. I mean, that's a good problem to have, but bad for those who might want it. So see if you get lucky, and go on the website and check it out. If you have a tween at home, or it could be a good gift for someone too.
Absolutely. And if it's unavailable by the time you want to order it, like let us know, and we might put it higher on our priority list if we know that there's people out there wanting it now.
That's awesome. And yeah, I think that small businesses should help other small businesses. So go out and buy the boxes, get a subscription, or get the one off the tween box. Speaking of purchasing, who do you recommend should buy your box? Like, what's your target audience, sort of?
Our target audience right now is parents.
Hmm.
It certainly just parents in general of those age ranges. It certainly does not have to be someone, with a disability or with an IEP. These things that we are working on are beneficial to every child. Because everyone can work a little bit more on these skills. Personally, I can work on a lot of sensory skills for myself to become desensitized to some
I
textures.
love the self-reflection, Christine.
Oh my goodness. Being an OT, I'm like, oh yeah, that child is having this moment of like a freak out. I get how they're feeling.
Yeah.
So it is really interesting how you see yourself reflected in the children and their behaviors, and I think it makes me a better clinician.
100%. Yeah. I mean, because you can understand where they're coming from. And even Rebecca just said, like, she was a very sensory sensitive, say that 5 times fast, sensory sensitive kid as a child. I mean, and Lisa still is sensory sensitive. She doesn't like sticky, and I don't think she's here right now because she's off doing something else. But if she was here, she would tell you she does not like sticky and like slimy. And
Yeah.
I remember one time we made slime in the office because we were like doing an experiment, and that's just who we are. She would not. Yeah, she just did not. She did not like it at all.
Rebecca, she can't stand it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with like sensory sensitivities is that as long as it's not impacting your life, it's okay to not like textures. But if it's something that like some kids struggle with showers, and that isn't going to impact their everyday life.
Yeah.
So
for me, I mean, I'm not really sensory, and I'm like an adult, but
you're an adult.
yeah. So I don't like different textures like with my food. There are certain textures that I just I can't do. Like octopus, that's too much texture for me.
It's a pretty extreme
Squid,
one.
squid is too like slimy for me. Yeah, I can't. Textures in my mouth is not a thing for me. I mean, I'm good with like touching things, but
Mm-hmm.
the whole eating thing, I have a real problem with that. And also hearing people like slurping, there's a name for that.
Oh, so that's your kind of an auditory sensitive to that.
Yeah. It's hard for me. Okay, yeah, we're gonna stop talking about it because then I'm gonna get like the creepy crawlies. Um, yeah, so I mean, I feel like this is the perfect time to get an OT for me box because kids are out of school now. Like you want to continue to support them in the OT area when they're not in school because that's usually, I mean, not all the time, but most of the time people get OT in school, right? That's how I remember it. That's how I got it. So how can families continue OT supports over the summer? And does OT for Me box fall in that category, do you think?
Yes, I do think.
Yeah.
I definitely think so. The
Right answer, Christine.
so so with having OT in school, a lot of times you don't get that over the summer. Some kids are an outpatient,
Yeah.
which is amazing, which is great. Disclaimer: we don't try to like take away therapy. Like we're not trying to replace that. We just want to be an extension to help more.
That's really good. Thank you for saying that.
Yes, we just want to make sure no one's like canceling their appointments to get the box because both are really important. How can families continue OT supports at home over the summer? Yes, so even if you don't have us, Pinterest is full of awesome ideas. It can be overwhelming when you're trying to like,
Talk about
entertain
it.
your
Oh my
kids,
God.
which is actually why our summer activity packet is really nice because it tells you exactly what to do. And just a little plug.
Yeah.
Getting outside, honestly, I mean, everyone says that, but like outside is a sensory paradise. Grass touching your feet. You'd be surprised how many kids will not walk on grass.
Sand, yes.
Yep.
All those different textures.
Sand,
Crazy.
swimming, the whole water. That's
Yeah.
just even just soaking up the sun.
Yeah.
It's great. Allowing independent and unstructured play. We want kids to be able to play with their own imaginations. A structured time is very important, but some unstructured play where they just have blocks and they figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And that's important just to increase, their confidence and play too.
Yeah. Creative and imaginative play.
Mhm.
Something that Pumpkin Flats also believes
Yeah.
wholeheartedly in. And again, I mean, if Lisa was here, she would say that. But that brings me to when you talk about just the unstructured play and just allowing kids to be kids and letting them use their imaginations, like it makes me think of like those car rides and how convenient the OT for Me box would be if you were, driving across the country with your
Yep.
with your family and you needed something to do in the back seat, but you know that your child is struggling in a certain area that the OT for Me box might actually help with. So when you go on your vacation this summer, this might be the perfect thing for your child to have. I mean,
there are certainly some
good
things you wouldn't want to do.
salesperson, right?
Yes, there are certainly a couple activities you wouldn't want to do in the car, like making slime, but we certainly, I would say in every box, there's at least one thing that's very travel friendly.
I love that. That's awesome. That's a good
Yes, and I was gonna say the last thing too on supporting over the summer. This is my personal opinion. I wouldn't hound the school stuff too much because we don't want to burn out kids and make them think that, put a negative connotation. If something is hard, they're not going to. A lot of times people don't enjoy things that they struggle with. So to force that all the time, we like to reinforce those skills by
love that.
seeing what the kids are doing with their unstructured play and joining that and using our adult brains to get some of those skills in with what the kids are already doing.
So finding a happy medium between
Yeah.
like, what they're struggling with and like what they love.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. We don't want it to turn into something sad and burned out and a meltdown or anything like that.
Yeah. I think that's such an important point to say. So thank you so much for pointing that out, Christine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. And I know we have a question here that somebody asked. What inspired you to become an OT? I'm curious about this.
Well, funny enough, I didn't really even know what it was when I started college. I went to a very nursing heavy college and I knew I liked healthcare, but nursing just wasn't for me.
Mm.
So I had some guidance that said, you should really look into the OT program. And that was my freshman year in college. So I followed the path all the way through the graduate program, and it just kind of worked out. Like I didn't have like a life altering experience that was like, oh, like I know what OT is. I want to do that. It really helped to have a good mentor, a good mentor in college that could see the potential in me.
That's awesome. And I mean, I can talk all day about the importance of mentorship and to know someone who can call things out of you that you don't see or don't call out in yourself. That's so important to me personally, but to a lot of people. And they don't realize at the point sometimes that their mentor is standing right in front of them. Like literally sometimes it's the person that's right under your nose and you don't have to go out and like ask for someone to be your mentor, but they are already doing that. If you have someone in your life that is calling things out of you that you don't see in yourself or that you didn't realize, that's your mentor.
I love that description.
Yeah, totally. I have several. Yeah, so
yeah, I'd say I do too.
It's awesome. And I love this question. I think you talked about this way in the beginning, but we can touch back on it. Go ahead.
Yeah, we actually met. We both worked at an outpatient clinic. I had worked there for about a year at the time, and she came in as a new grad and sat next to me. And I think I said something ridiculous, and she laughed and she's like, "This girl, she's my friend." So we just became really good friends at work together. And then our lives have just intertwined in really weird ways. She is so good at the things I am not good at. For example, social media. And I compliment her on some of the things that I know that she would rather not do as well. So business partner wise, we've kind of got our bases covered.
I love that. Like yin and yang, the
It
balance.
is.
It's all about balance.
It is. And it's nice to have a partner.
I bet.
It is.
We all need a partner in life.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think that is, let me see. We talked about how people can get in touch with you, right? But we can put that back up again.
Yeah.
This is the email. So if anybody wants to be involved in the box, right?
Yep. Or just anything. Yep.
Yeah. And then this is your website.
And our website has a contact form on it too. That just goes directly to our email if that's difficult to remember.
Awesome. See? Yeah, you can check out the website and get that tween box or get the subscription and, stay up to date. Do you guys have like a newsletter?
We're trying to. We're trying. We're not super consistent. But yes, you can subscribe.
Or a way that people can sign up, and subscribe.
Yes, absolutely. So on our website, you can like subscribe to our emails. And a lot of times we, will give out coupons and stuff to just our subscribers. So it's worth signing up for anyway.
Awesome. Do you see like an influx, like a change in like sales and everything through the pandemic?
We've been pretty consistent. Obviously, Christmas was pretty good. And then after Christmas, we had a decline because everyone's like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I guess we never were a business without the pandemic. So I can't really compare it to anything. I mean, it was just like a perfect business for the pandemic because kids were home.
Wait, so you started OT from EBox during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, see, it's like a really important something.
Yeah, we've been, I think our year anniversary is this month, so.
Awesome. Wow. See, I just learned something new. I love learning new things.
And it is actually interesting enough, Michaela was living in Canada and I was living in Florida when we started the business. So you can be in different places. The internet is a strange and wonderful place.
I love that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, congrats on your 1 year anniversary. That's amazing. I never knew that you started this business during the pandemic. And we spoke before this. I'm like,
I know.
Mom. Okay. Anyway, moving along. And you all are on social media, and people should go and follow Facebook and Instagram because that's where you can find out the latest.
Mm-hmm. Our Instagram, I don't know if our Facebook got disconnected, but we're trying to make sure all of our Instagram posts get to Facebook too. But Michaela runs our Instagram page, and it is incredible.
Like, it is.
No brag to me because I didn't do it, but it's just got a lot of really cool. Like I learned, I'm like, wow, that's so smart.
Yeah, I agree. You guys' Instagram is really cohesive and like it kind of really gets the message across. You have one consecutive like scheme that you keep. Everything is all nice and crisp and put together. So yeah, go and check that out if you haven't. And thank you so much, Christine, for being here. And tell Michaela that we say hi and that we missed her this time around. But maybe you guys can come back if you have anything going on in the future that you can come back for and talk to us.
We'd love that.
Awesome. And I'm so glad that you could be here. I really enjoyed this conversation and I learned some stuff, which is always good.
Yes.
So yeah, tune in next week. We'll have July is Disability Pride Month for anyone who may not have known that.
I didn't know that.
Next week we'll have someone from Disability Pride Parade Philadelphia on. So she'll talk to us about what Philadelphia is doing for Disability Pride in the month of July. So be sure to tune in for that. And thank you so much, Christine, again for being here. And thank you, everybody. Bye.
Goodbye.